This is the review for test unit 5, Pythagorean theorem, special right triangles, and triangle inequalities. Make sure you have your review out so that you are following along while we are recording. So let's look at number 1. Solve for x using the diagram below. Well, since x is the side of our triangle here, I can just use Pythagorean theorem. The 15 is across from my right angle, so I know the 15 is my hypotenuse, so that's my C. So then I would have 9 squared plus x squared equals 15 squared, so 81 plus x squared equals 225. Subtract the 81 from both sides. I get x squared equals 144. So I square root both sides to get that x equals 12. So there's number 1. Number 2, again, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. I know the square root of 17 is my C because it's across from my right angle. So I know that x squared plus 3 squared equals the square root of 17 squared. That's x squared plus 9 equals 17. Subtract the 9 from both sides. X squared equals 8. So when I square root that, I get x equals the square root of 8, or 2.828. Either one of those answers are acceptable. Number 3, a drawing of Pete's kite is shown below. What is the length of the short section of the outer frame? So we're looking at this triangle right here. Sorry that we have labeled off. Well, we know that this piece here is our right angle. So we're looking for our hypotenuse this time because the x is across from the right angle. So 12 squared plus 35 squared equals x squared. So 144 plus 1,225 equals x squared. So I have 1,369 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides, and we get x equals 37. And since we are dealing with an actual problem that has units, we know these are inches, so we need to include the inches, need to include units. Okay. Number 4, you saw an advertisement of a TV in the newspaper where it mentioned that the TV is 32 inches high. We know this piece is 32. We also know that this piece is 32 and 50 inches wide. So I know that this piece here is 50. And can calculate the diagonal length of the screen. So I also know this piece is 50. So I take one of these triangles. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter which one. I'm looking for the diagonal piece, the part across from my right angle. I'm looking for my hypotenuse. So this should be 50 squared plus 32 squared equals c squared, which is 2,500 plus 1,224 equals c squared. So when I do all of that, I get that c equals 59.363 inches, which is also the square root of 3,524 inches. So there's the front page. Let's go to the second page. For number 5, we want to draw the picture. If I know you and a friend ran 5 miles north, so here's my 5 miles that I ran, and then I ran 3 miles east. What is the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a mile you must travel to return to your starting point? Where the shortest distance is just a straight line. So we're looking for this piece here. Here's our right angle. So we're looking for our hypotenuse. We're looking for C. 5 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared. Oops, not 8. 25 plus 9 equals x squared. So we know 34 equals x squared. Square root both sides. We want it to the nearest tenth of a mile. So this would be 5.8 miles. Make sure you are drawing pictures for all of these, because it will definitely help you. Draw your pictures. All right. Number 6, you sailed a ship north a distance of 40 miles, and then east a distance of 20 miles. And we want to find the distance between the start point and the end point. So we're looking for this. 20 squared plus 40 squared equals x squared. And that's 400 plus 1600 equals x squared. So 2000 equals x squared. Square root both sides. And we get 44.721 miles. Next one, you are shopping for a new computer. So here's our computer. And see, a monitor is listed as being 19 inches. This distance is the diagonal distance across the screen. So we know that this is 19 inches. We're looking, if the screen measures 10 inches in height, what's the actual width of the screen? So we're looking for this. We're looking for the bottom. 19 is our hypotenuse, so 19 squared equals 10 squared plus x squared. 19 squared is 361, and that equals 100 plus x squared. So 261 equals x squared. Square root both sides, and we get x equals 16.155 inches. All right, now we're at, given the following measures of the sides which form a right triangle. In order to form a right triangle, we need a squared plus b squared to equal c squared. So we know that c is always our biggest piece. So when I'm looking at these, I want to figure out which one's my biggest piece. Between the 26, 24, and 10, the 26 is my biggest piece, so that's c. And it doesn't matter between the 24 and 10 which one's a and which one's b. So I'm saying does 24 squared plus 10 squared equal 26 squared? Looking to see if that's true. 26 squared is 676. We're saying does that equal 526, 76 plus 100? Since these are equal, this is a right triangle. For letter B, the 31 is the biggest side, so 31 is our C. So we're looking at does 31 squared equal 23 squared plus 14 squared? 31 squared is 961, and we're saying does that equal 529 plus 196? Does 961 equal 725? No, this is not a right triangle. The next one, we want to figure out what is the square root of 85. Figure out which one our C is. The square root of 85 is 9.219. So the square root of 85 is my C squared. Where's my C? Because that's the biggest piece. So I'm looking at, does the square root of 85 squared equal 7 squared plus 6 squared? So does 85 equal 49 plus 36? Yes. So it is a right triangle. And last one of this section, we have a bunch of these things. Now we know the biggest one is going to be the hypotenuse. When we have all square roots, you're looking for the biggest number under the square root. And that would be the 63. So 63 is our C. So square root of 63 squared equals square root of 31 squared plus the square root of 17 squared. So that would be, this makes it easy, 63, 31 plus 17. So we get 63 equals 48, which it does not. So this does not form a right triangle. Number 9, which of the following three lengths can be used to form a right triangle? You are selecting 3 values from the list below. These 3 should form a right triangle. Things to keep in mind are your Pythagorean triples. So keep in mind your 3, 4, 5s, your 5, 12, 13s, your 7, 24, 25s. So look here. I know 5 goes with 3, 4, 5, which I don't have. 5 also goes with 12 and 13, which I don't have. 6 and 8 would form a right triangle if I had 10. So I can't use 6. But 7, 24, 25 is a Pythagorean triple. If you don't remember those, just pick sets of 3 to see if they form the right triangle. Another circle, which of the 3 form a right triangle? Well, we know 3, 4, 5 form the right triangle because they're Pythagorean triple. 11 is another one. And this one I'm also going to use 3, 4, 5. Because 12 is 3 times 4, 16 is 4 times 4, and 20 is 5 times 4. So this is a 3, 4, 5 special right triangle. Another special right triangle. We know 5, 12, 13 is one of our special rights. 5 times 2 gives me 10. 12 times 2 gives me 24. 13 times 2 gives me 26. Remember these Pythagorean triples. It'll make things